20 closed deals from one Facebook ad. By the end of this step-by-step, click-by-click tutorial, you will know exactly how to create the exact same ad that generated over 20 closed deals for this one agent that I helped. Now, one thing that's really important to notice is that a lot has changed when it comes to Facebook ads for realtors over the last year. So if you do skip any part of this video, you very well might end up in danger of your ad getting disabled or even your Facebook ad account getting completely blocked. So you want to make sure you do not skip a single second in this video. My Facebook ad tutorials every single year are deemed to be the most clear, concise, and easy to follow, because at the end, you actually will have an ad ready to rock that will generate you leads within the next 24 hours. And that's what I want you to do. So make sure you don't skip a single second. Now, throughout this video, I'm going to break down not only all of the different things that have changed over the last year when it comes to Facebook ads for real estate agents, but also make sure that you avoid the costly mistakes that can result in your ad account being banned. Now, one huge announcement before we dive into the tutorial, where I'm going to share my screen and show you everything of what you can do, and you can follow along with me as we go through this journey. But my brand new free training has just launched. Over 100,000 agents have watched my last training and said it was the most tactical information they've ever seen from a free training, because I break down exactly how to not only use every social media platform, but how to get clients from it coming to you for free without having to spend any money on ads. So if you would like my brand new free training, just drop a comment below and say client magnet or free training, and I will give you the direct link to that free training specific to your reply. So without further ado, let's break down step by step exactly how to create a Facebook ad for real estate lead generation, but more importantly, one that has actually led to closed transactions. Okay, let's dive in. And the really cool part about this specific ad, which I did not mention in the beginning, is that while you're going to assume that this ad is tailored toward buyers, it's actually one that generates a ton of seller leads. So if you're looking to get seller leads, this is actually a really creative way to get seller leads without having to run seller specific lead generation campaigns, because those are usually the most expensive and the most difficult to generate leads for. Whereas if you approach it the way that I'm going to share with you, this is going to be one that will generate both buyer and seller leads. And the craziest part is that that's going to allow you to start to double end deals. So let's go through and show you a wildly profitable deal or a Facebook ad campaign for real estate agents. So we're going to come to Facebook, and now we want to get to our Facebook ads manager. Now, as you can see here on the left-hand side, if we come over here, mine shows up at the top. If yours does not show up at the top, you can click see more, and then you can scroll down through until you see it. And if you have not set up your business manager for actually running an ad in the past, you're going to have to go through and do that. But Facebook Ads Manager can be found here, or as you can see here, I can just click either which way. Now, when we come to our Facebook Ad Manager, you can see we have here, which is our campaigns. Now, we're going to go ahead and create a new campaign, and I'm going to make sure that I just keep you focused on what's actually going to generate leads. I'm not going to waste your time with explaining all these different ad campaign objectives, because you really don't need to care about it if you want to generate leads. So instead of getting you confused with all the different things that Facebook ads have to offer, I'm going to just show you exactly what will generate you leads that will lead to closed deals. So we want to generate leads. Now, one of the new things that has come up recently is that you have these two different options whenever you set up a campaign, which is going to be either a streamlined, tailored best practice lead recommendation, which is what Facebook wants you to use, or Meta wants you to use. And this is going to be a bit of a, streamlined way where there's fewer steps, using the tailored leads campaign with built-in practices to help you get leads at the best value. That is not true. And we want to have the most control over our lead campaign in order to make sure that we're getting the best results. So what we're going to do is actually come down here to manual leads campaign. Now we're going to come up here, and the first thing that you want to do is you want to make sure you name your campaign. We want to make sure that we're naming things properly so that when we're looking at that dashboard for the data that we previously just came from, that you can go through and look at the data, look at the performance, and make sure that you're not just confused with what's going on. Because if you keep leaving it as new leads campaign, well, the next one's going to be new leads campaign 2, then new leads campaign 3, and you're not going to know which one's which, and it's going to be difficult for you to stay on top of this. So what we're going to do is we're going to say downsizing in Calgary, And then we're going to, usually what I would do is put in the date that you're actually going to start this ad so that you can remember just based on the timeline. So let's say we're doing June 1, 2023, and we're done. Now, we do have to use a special ad category. Facebook or Meta talked about removing this. They were supposed to remove it back in the end of 2022. As always, this platform tends to say a lot of things, do a lot of different things, and making it very confusing and frustrating for realtors. So we still have to use the special ad category, and you will have to select the country in which you're going to run the campaign. Not the state, not the province, but the country. So if you're in a state, you're going to have to choose the United States. And then if you're in Canada, in a certain province, you will have to select Canada. Now, this is going to limit certain things that we're going to be able to do in the ad section. So as you can see, there's 3 different sections to actually creating a Facebook ad. The first is going to be the campaign, which is essentially determining what this campaign is going to be, the general parameters of the campaign. Then we're going to go to our ad set level, and in the ad set level is where we're going to actually do our targeting, and that's where we're going to set our budget. We're going to have options for custom audiences, lookalike audiences, retargeting, and all of that. And then the ad section is going to be where we're actually creating the ad itself, the copy, the creative, the lead form. So let's go through the campaign section before we move on to the ad set section. Now, our campaign objective is leads, so we want to generate leads. You don't have to worry about A/B testing. You don't have to worry about advanced campaign budget, or CBO, campaign budget optimization, as they used to call it. And we're just going to click next. So now we're on our ad set name. So typically what I would do is, again, type in something like Calgary downsizing buyers and sellers, something like that. Just something that, again, defines the audience. Who are you actually trying to get your ad in front of? Is it downsize? Is it relocation? Is it buyers specifically? Is it sellers specifically? Is it move up? Is it investors? But putting the ad set name is going to make sure that you're defining this specific audience. That's why it's called an ad set, a set within the ad that's going to make sure that you're targeting the right people. Now, the next thing is going to be conversion, as you can see here. If you do have a website, you can feel free to drive traffic to your website, but it doesn't convert as high. So we want to leave it on instant form. So generate leads by asking people to fill out a form. Now we're going to come down, and you have to make sure that you connect your Facebook page. And if you had not already, you have to select and view and accept the terms for Meta lead ads. So if we come to like a random page here that is super old that has not accepted it, you will see here terms of service not yet accepted. So you can't run lead ads until you've accepted this. So view terms accepted, and you should be good to go. But we'll come through here, and I've selected it with my business page, and we're good to go. Now, don't worry about dynamic creative either. This is going to be providing creative elements that are automatically going to generate different things. Again, not something that you need to worry about if you want to generate leads. And you're also not going to have to worry about the optimization and lead delivery. So we already have it optimized for leads. The cost per result is if you can only afford to spend a certain amount. So it'll aim to spend your entire budget to get the most leads. But again, they want to keep it under a certain price point. I don't recommend this. This is actually usually going to hurt your ads, so we could just eliminate this. Now, based on this here, based on how things are looking, you typically want to start at least $20 a day. Now, you can go 10, you can go 15, but 20 usually gives you more data, because ultimately what we want to do with the first ad is gather data to see how it's performing. Then we can go back through and make any tweaks and changes to make it perform even better. And that's when we can start to actually generate very, very hot leads consistently over time. But at the beginning, if you spend $10, it's going to take you maybe a couple of weeks extra to get the data you need to optimize it. So if you can afford to spend $20 a day, that's going to do wonders for your business. But if you don't need to, or if you can't, then I completely understand that. I do recommend setting a daily budget instead of a lifetime budget. And as you can see here, you will spend no more than $140 per calendar week. Now, the reason why it says this is because even though you put $20 per day, it's not going to spend exactly $20 per day. You can see here, you'll spend up to $25 on some days and less on others, but you'll spend an average of $20 a day, meaning that by the end of the 2 week or by the end of the 1 week period, you'll spend no more than $140. So what Facebook will do, or Meta will do, is that as your ad is continuing to perform, if it's performing better on certain days, it'll spend a little bit more. If it's performing maybe not so good on certain days, it'll spend a little bit less. So if you go through and you see that Facebook has spent, $24.57 on one day, don't get worried about the fact that it's spent more than $20 a day, because by the end of that 1 week period, it will all even out to make sure that you don't spend more than $140 a day. Now, typically what you want to do if you're really advanced with Facebook ads, or just at least familiar with Meta ads, is making sure that you just select a start date and not an end date. And the reason being is because if you're quite familiar with running ads, you can go through and make changes as the ad is performing. But what you don't want, if again you're familiar with ads, is for an ad to be performing and you suddenly forget about it and then it shuts off and you lose some of that momentum that you built with that ad. Now, if you are not familiar with Facebook ads, if this is one of the first ads that you've run, then you do want to select a end date. So maybe what you want to do, knowing that we're going to start this on July 3rd, is you just want to run it for a couple of weeks here. So we're going to choose maybe something like, 2.5 weeks, and then we're going to go. So you can see the start date is in the past, and reset your start date today, done, and we're good to go. But we were going to do this for July 3rd, or June 3rd rather, and then we're good to go. So this is going to run for just about 2 weeks, and then again, if you forget about it, then it's going to stop. And this is good for people that again are not that familiar with ads, because I've seen people go through a tutorial like this, run an ad, maybe it's not performing as good as they would like to because they made a couple of mistakes with the photo or what we're going to do after this, and ultimately they continue to forget about it. They're wasting money, and that's not what I want to happen for you. Now we come over here to the audience section, and this is where you, again, if you click here and you've got different retargeting audiences set up, you will see this. Now, if this is one of your first ads, you're not going to have this. I will have a separate tutorial showing you how to do retargeting, which is where all the ninja magic happens. So make sure you subscribe so you don't miss that video, because that will make a world of a difference for your Facebook ads. And I don't want you to miss that one. So we're not going to use custom audiences for retargeting, just because this is going to be an ad tailored toward people that have not yet run ads. So now we need to come through and select our location. So we're not going to choose an entire country. We are actually going to choose the location. Now, Facebook and Meta is kind of weird. Sometimes you have to put a space here. And again, because we're using the special ad category, unfortunately, it can't go less than a 15-mile radius. Now, for most cities, that's okay. But if you do live in a smaller market, it is going to be encapsulating at least a 15-mile radius. And again, because we're using the Facebook ad category or a special ad category for housing, you cannot choose a postal code or a zip code, and you cannot go less than 15 miles per radius. You also cannot change the gender, and you can't change the ad. Now, there's a couple different things here that when it comes to detailed targeting. Now, I want to say a caveat here, which is Facebook or Meta's algorithm is incredible. It's one of the best you will ever find because of the amount of data that they actually have. So one of the things that I've actually seen perform the best after I personally spent $1.2 million last year on Facebook ads with my own budget was just general targeting. Because what happens is Facebook is going to identify, or Meta is going to identify, who is engaging with your ad, who is not engaging with your ad. It will then show your ad to more people that are similar to those engaging with your ad, and show it less to the people that are similar to those not engaging with your ad. So a lot of people get concerned because of the limitations of detailed targeting, but with the strength of the algorithm, and based on what we're going to say in the next section with the lead ads, as I'm going to show you, you actually don't need to do anything with this. And truthfully, there's less targeting abilities in Canada. If you do come here, you've got additional behaviors. You can look at things like mortgage, and you can target things like mortgage. You have the ability to target things in real estate in terms of real estate industry and stuff like that. There are a couple things as well that you can look at in terms of, different types of behaviors. But I generally get the best results from blanket targeting and then using custom audiences in order to retarget to convert higher. So against what most people might tell you, I've seen this work the best using my own budget for multiple people, including myself, at scale. Now, languages, you can use all languages, which is what I typically do. Otherwise, if you speak maybe Hindi, Punjabi, Spanish, Portuguese, some sort of a different language, and that's a niche for yours, you can target that if your ad is going to be in one of those languages. But for the majority of people, you're going to be speaking English. Now, this is one, again, that I see a lot of people using advanced or kind of just recommended advantage placements, which is just maximizing your budget to show your ads to the most amount of people. If you have a significant budget, if you are going to be doing this for an extended period of time, if you do have the ability to do a couple different options for testing, things like that, then this is a really great way to gather data. So this is a good practice if you, again, have the luxury of time. But for many agents that are going to be watching this, you just want to generate leads as quickly as humanly possible. And so what I like to do in that case is I like to take control over this because maybe you don't have the luxury of time. So what I like to do is I like to remove the audience networks. You can see we don't need to care about this. We don't need to care about this. And I'm actually going to eliminate all of these. We don't need to care about stories, reels, because we're not going to be doing a video in this case. Doesn't matter. We're going to get all of this away. And then again, marketplace can do okay. So sometimes I will leave it at that. And now we're going to go. So you can see here reached, 6 to 25 leads per day based on our ad spend. Now, one thing that you'll see if I come up here and just show you a couple different examples here, I just want to show you what can happen if you actually do a smaller budget. So let's say we were doing like $10 a day. Sometimes, depending on where you go, this will actually say 0. It's going to give you no leads. That is not the case at all. If it says 0 leads, that's just Facebook trying to get you to spend more money. But I've spent, downwards of $5 a day and gotten leads, even though it tells me that there's no way in heck that I'm actually going to be able to generate leads. So now we're done. We've done the targeting. We've got our ad set up for our ad set, which is for Calgary, downsizing buyers and sellers. And you can see here, there's more options, but you don't have to worry about this in terms of any of these. I just want to make sure that you're not wasting your time with anything that does not matter. So you can see here, expected or estimated daily results, reach about 1,200 to 3,400 people, leads 6 to 25 leads per day, which can be good, especially considering how many people have actually turned into closed deals from this. So now we want to name the ad name. So again, this can be, Calgary downsizing. And what we're going to do is, and the reason why one of the reasons why this ad works so well is because of the shifting market, because of rising interest rates over the course of this year. And for the last 6 months or so, there have been a lot of people looking to downsize. So what happens is that if you need to downsize, what does that typically mean? Well, you're looking to buy a cheaper property from a more expensive property. So what does that mean? You probably need to sell the more expensive property, but based on your timeline in the search, you're searching for properties to buy. So the assumption is that you're going to be a buyer, that this is a buyer lead generation Facebook ad. However, the caveat and the quirk and why this works so well is because even though it's tailored toward buyers, it actually gets sellers because of the fact that it is a downsizing, meaning you have to sell to then buy, which is really cool. So that's why this is so wildly profitable. Now you do have to connect an Instagram account. You can see here, I've got mine connected. If you do not have yours connected, you can just, again, come down here and connect it and just follow the steps. It's only a couple clicks. And now we're gonna come down here and create the ad. Now, this is going to be a single image, but the alternative is what I'll show you as well, is a carousel. Now, the ad that worked incredibly well for the person that I'm referring to and a couple other people, I've seen it work really well in the way I'm going to show you. The one that I'm referring to is actually a carousel, but this is very, very strategic because you have to be very on point with the exact type of properties that you're showing on the carousel, which can, if you're really familiar with your market, work to your advantage. if you were maybe newer, like you might be if you're watching this, then it actually can hurt you and be a little bit more difficult. So I want to show you a way that's a little bit more foolproof. And so we're going to come down here. Now we're going to just trash this because it's going to pull in a number of different blanket things just based on your Facebook ad. As you can see there, it just had my Facebook ad banner or my Facebook page banner. Now we're going to add media, and what we're going to do is add an image, and I'm going to come, and if you have images previously, you'll just be able to see them here based on your account, or you can come through and upload them like we can see here. And this is one that's worked incredibly well for me, because, which I'll talk to you about in a second, the reason why this works so well is because this is a very, 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 very beautiful example of a property that is common in my market that a lot of people would be drawn to because it's a bungalow. It's got the attached garage. I had my team take these beautiful photos, so it's really high quality. And you've got a couple different options here in terms of cropping. So you've got 1-to-1, which is recommended. And the reason why it is recommended is because it takes up the largest amount of real estate space on your screen. Because if we go to the original, you can see here that this space is actually left out, right? And you can see this ad will not show up on certain placements you've selected, or maybe automatically cropped, right? So to avoid this, you can crop this, and maybe you want to reposition it so that it actually shows like both garages, kind of like this. And then you can apply and done. So now we're going to click next. Now you can see here, we don't really need to worry about any of these in terms of optimization. This is just going to allow you to kind of make edits on it, and we're going to click done. So now we can see that our ad is starting to form. So now what we need to do is come down to the text, and this is what you're all probably waiting for. So we've got primary text, which is going to show up at the top. We've got headline, which will show down below. We don't need to worry about a description, and I'll talk to you about the call to action that you always need to make sure that you're using. So this is a copy and paste of the ad that worked really well, that generated over 20 buyer leads and seller leads. Now, as you can see here, the only thing that shows up is the first 3 lines until people have to click see more. So what you want to make sure that you're doing is that the call to action, the strategic text that you want people to see, shows up in the first 3 lines. So as you can see, if I click just skip, then if I leave this space here, it's wasted opportunity to have a call to action for people to actually read and convert. Check out this free customized what. Usually when people are scrolling, convenience sells. It's inconvenient for most people to click see more. They might scroll by. I've seen it happen when looking at heat maps. So if we just kind of eliminate this, it might not be as visually appealing from a creative perspective, but it converts higher because of the fact that now you can see it's not just check out this free customize, it's this customized list of homes tailored toward your budget. Now, if you click see more, you'll see the entirety of it. Now what you want to do is write the headline. So the headline is something like, we can just come over here. We can play with emojis if you want to. And I like to use a house emoji. Or I like to look at something related to like a timeline emoji. Most popular list of downsize homes. So you can see here what that looks like. And you can see that it comes down here and is formed on Facebook. So you can play around with this depending on what your ad is going to be. Now, most popular is something that I'm going to show you how to use when we actually come over here and start looking at what link we're going to be using. And then you've got the call to action. Now, the call to action that always works best and converts the highest is learn more. Sign up is just inherently psychologically going to make people think like they have to pay for something or register for something. Even though they do have to register for something, learn more is going to actually get more clicks. And then once they're there, it's basically going to auto-populate and you're going to get better results. So now what we want to do is we want to create an instant form. So we're going to create an instant form. As you can see here, we understand this. And now what you want to do is typically name the file name. So downsize buyers and sellers lead gen. Now, a couple things here. You can see here, custom, don't worry about this. Tell your brand story, rich text, visuals, customization, customizable sections, complete waste of time. You don't need to do this. Higher intent, add a review step that gives people the chance to confirm their info. Now, this is going to give you higher quality leads. It's going to be slightly, or can be significantly, but it's going to be more expensive. More volume is going to give you exactly that. More leads. It's going to auto fill their information. Now, the pros and cons of these. And I'm going to show you what this agent specifically did, and I'm going to show you when you might want to test both, and you should test both. But more volume is going to be, it pulls their information from Facebook. The issue with that is that most people started their Facebook account like 20, 15 years ago. So knowing that, the current email that I personally use for everything is not the email that my Facebook is associated with. Now, that's the case for many people as well. So by going for more volume, it's going to just pull people's information in automatically, auto-populated, and then that's going to be the lead, which is why sometimes you get lower lead quality. Higher intent is going to mean that they actually have to confirm that that is what they're looking to submit in terms of their information. And that means that generally speaking, again, some people like to go for more volume because of the fact that they just want to get as many leads as humanly possible. And usually that's just because we've been taught within the industry that leads are the name of the game, and more leads, more leads, more leads. But I would rather have higher quality leads, less leads, maybe more expensive leads, but higher intent. So if you have a slightly more flexible budget, use higher intent. If you're a brand new agent on a very small budget, you might want to use more volume, like I personally did for a number of years until I built up momentum to spend a bit more. So just use your own situation. Now you can see here, you could use a custom image. So if you want to use the same image that we have here, you'll see here, this will show up as the background image whenever it decides to load. And I like to make sure that that's very consistent so that, again, consistency is going to build the trust within the lead to make sure that they know that this is actually what they're going to be getting and not something unexpected. So now you've got the headline, and this can be something like, check out our custom list of downsize homes that Calgarians are, so this is actually a little bit long, so check out our list of homes that Calgarians are raving about. So you can have something like that. But either which way, this is going to be something where you want to keep this consistent with what is in the headline of your text, of your ad. And now you don't need to include a description. We can come to next, which is going to be questions, right? Now, typically what you want to do, looking at the questions, is you have to put in a bit of a description here. And I'll show you where that shows up here. So please submit your information so we know where to send the list to. So you can see here, please submit your information so we know where to send the custom list of homes to, right? Now, typically what you want to do is you want to have name, email, phone number. And what I find works in terms of the sequence of order is name, full name, email, phone number. That's what typically works best. I've tested this again with a ton of my own personal money, and that's where we want to be spending. So now you need the privacy laws and the privacy policy. Now I'm going to come over here to my website, as you can see here, and at the end or the bottom of any website, it should have a privacy policy. So we're going to come here and click on that, and now we're just going to copy this. We're going to come back here and add the link, and now we can just say privacy policy. Done, right? No need for anything else than that. Now you've got your review screen, right? So review screen gives people the chance to review their information before they submit it, right? Which is going to say, okay, their full name, their email, their phone number, maybe their email is an old email, but if they're an actual lead, if they actually want this information, they're going to go back and change it to their actual email, which is what we want. Now, if you're on more volume, it's not going to give the review screen. Now we've got the message for leads. So this is where we want to get creative and good to go. So thank you for submitting your information. Now you can go here and say, click below to get immediate access to your customizable list of downsized homes that are perfect for your budget. Now, you've got view website, which is usually the call to action that you want because you're going to be able to change the text. So custom some list of downsize homes, right? Done. Now, what link do you put in? So we're going to come over here back to my website. And typically if it's downsizing, again, everybody's going to have their own relativity in terms of what downsize pricing means to them. But if we come to Calgary, for example, we're going to come back here and we're just going to do, single family. You can see houses, view list here. And typically it's going to be houses. And then what it's going to be is usually, again, based on my market, the average price point is going to be something like, $500,000. So that's going to be pretty typical for downsizing. But again, maybe yours might be $1 million. Either which way, what you want to do is pick something slightly above the average. So knowing that mine city's actually average is about 450, we're going to choose, $500,000 and you're going to click search. And now what's going to happen is you want to filter by popularity. Now that we have this as the most popular list, which again is going to consider all the different properties that are within this budget. Again, if their downsize, criteria is maybe they're moving from $1 million to $750,000, this is an IDX feed. They can come play around, they can come give their information, they can come change whatever they want in terms of the price point, and that's great. And for me, you've got list, map. I find that the grid actually works pretty well, but so does the map, because people like to see, oh, maybe I want to be in this area or that area. So I like to use the map view. I find that it actually converts higher and it actually shows people kind of a little bit more information about what they're looking for. And you add in the link and then you're done. And now you click publish. You do have to put in a bit of a description here. So please submit your information to get immediate access to this custom list of homes perfect for downsizing in Calgary. Now, there's one actually strategic thing that I also do here, which is whenever you come to the message for leads, typically what I also do is feel free to contact me at, whatever your number is. If you would like to view any of these homes or have any additional questions. Now, I always try and find as many ways as possible to include my contact information, because sometimes they're going to see this and say, well, I do have a question, and they might text you, they might call you. But either which way, now we can click publish. And now our ad is going to be done in terms of this form. So you can see your form has been added. Here we go. This is what our ad looks like. You can see what it looks like on Instagram. You can see what it looks like on Facebook Marketplace, and you can see what it looks like on Facebook. Now, typically I would have actually removed this, so I apologize. You just go back into the ad set and remove everything except for Facebook feed, Instagram feed, and Facebook Marketplace, and then you click publish. And as you can see here, you can put in different information. I'm not going to include that just because it's my tax information on a different sort of thing, but that is your Facebook ad. So if you have any other questions, drop a comment below. Otherwise, feel free to check out my free training because that's going to give you a ton of value on how to actually attract clients for free on autopilot. And if you want to know an even more ninja strategy, feel free to check out this next video where I will show you another ad strategy that works wonders for lead generation.